Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Power Pro Wrestling. I'm here to call the action here for you tonight. DK Ressman is my name. I am joined, as always, by my broadcast colleague, Johnny Jet. Johnny, how you doing?
I'm doing outstanding this evening, DK. Ready for some wrestling action?
Absolutely, Johnny. And we've got some hot action here tonight with Loba, Blanca taking on Jordan King, two veterans of this sport looking to prove whose years of experience are going to be better tonight.
And of course, in our main event this evening, DK, we have Team Canada, Holden Troy and Heather Lexus taking on Team Japan, Kazuya Kano and Ichiko Kano. That's in our main event this evening, folks. And it promises to be one heck of a bout. Of course, Team Canada, undefeated thus far. Team Japan, a great record of their own. Can Team Canada continue their streak against Team Japan this evening?
Well, I can't wait to find out, Johnny. But another match I cannot wait to see. Panzer versus Brooke Power, ladies and gentlemen. This one was a shocker to us as well. Apparently, after last week's frustration, miscommunication, whatever you want to call it, Panzer demanded this match against his tag team partner.
And there we see a little bit of a look at the road thus far for Team Europe coming into this evening.
Both of these competitors just cutting a path of destruction here through Power Pro Wrestling. I cannot imagine what awaits when these two behemoths are set against each other.
Nor can I, DK. There we see the tail of the tape. Panzer, 11 years the senior of Brooke Power, and having quite a significant weight and height advantage, nearly double the weight of Brooke Power. Despite the brute force displayed by both of these competitors, I have to give the edge to Panzer coming into this one. He's not wrestling hurt. Brooke Power, we're not sure exactly the extent of that injury. Team Europe has not, their camp has not come forward giving us any information regarding that injury coming into this bout. But we know that something is definitely wrong with the arm of Brooke Power.
That's right, Johnny. A lot of mystery in this matchup as well. We know Panzer demanded it. We know that Brooke Power, after the end of that match last week, seeming to just leave her tag team partner behind. We're not sure what happened there. Nobody from Team Europe has come forward to explain the situation. Obviously, some real frustration coming up there between the two members of Team Europe.
Indeed so, DK. And, you know, I have to wonder if this is Panzer getting a little revenge on Brooke Power for perhaps abandoning him to the clutches of Kid Grime last week.
That certainly could be the case, Johnny. As you said, I as well think Panzer has the advantage in this match. Obviously, both big power wrestlers, and that height and weight advantage for Panzer means even more in a matchup such as that.
And here we see Panzer going to work early on the arm of Brooke Power. Panzer just really working over the injured arm of his tag team partner, showing no mercy, even though they are campmates, even though they're fighting for the same team. At the same time, Panzer is determined that he is going to be the one going to the Golden Crown. No one else but Panzer. Panzer, much as we might have expected, fight fans, dominating the early goings here. Irish whip to the Irish woman, and a big body press puts her onto the mat, just going to stomping away on the midsection there. Power trying to fight back, avoiding some of those blows. But Panzer, the strength on display, lifting nearly 300 pounds over his head and press slamming her. Now that camel clutch applied. Lariat sends her to the ground, and now he's just wrenching on the jaw of Brooke Power.
As we said earlier, Johnny, we expected Panzer to have the advantage in this match, but I have to say, well, just as I was about to say, I was surprised by the degree to which Power has been manhandled here, able to get some impressive offense again, but Panzer
turning that momentum back in his favor. Now with the backdrop suplex, sends her down onto the neck and arm. Just really inflicting more damage there. But Brooke Power showing that she's able to fight back against Panzer here. Trading blows with the big man. Panzer immediately back to his feet here. None the worse for wear into the ropes. Possibly going for a big body press, but she was up too quick. And now a choke slam sends her almost through the ring canvas there. Into the ropes goes Panzer, and there's that lariat. A tie up. Panzer remaining dominant here. You know, DK, we may be in the city of brotherly love, but there is no love lost between these two here this evening.
Absolutely not, Johnny. Again, Panzer, height, weight, power, and experience advantages here, really just taking out whatever frustration he's feeling on Brooke Power.
Just dismantling his tag team partner this evening. And a big one-armed power bomb off of the turnbuckle there from Panzer. Panzer just soaking in the jeers of this Philadelphia crowd. And, you know, the audience here in attendance, and I'm sure those watching at home, can't be anything but impressed by the power on display from Panzer here. Manhandling Brooke Power. Cover gets a near fall, but no victory for the big German. Now Brooke Power fighting back, but you can tell she's winded, she's injured. She's had no time to recover from that vicious armbar from Donna Reed last week. And Panzer has been taking every advantage against her. And there we see those big clubbing blows, sending the Irish woman crashing to the mat repeatedly here.
Did you ever imagine we'd see Brooke Power in a situation like this?
No! I certainly did not, DK, and I'm not sure what just... Panzer, of course, got her into that Samoan drop, dropped her over the ropes there.
It looks like she's out cold, Johnny.
Indeed it does, DK, and our ring attendants are... Yeah, they seem to be getting some kind of a gurney ready off camera here, folks, as Red Shoes administers the count. And yes, it's going to be a count out victory for Panzer. Certainly a message sent to Brooke Power following last week, DK.
My God, Johnny, though, what does this mean for Team Europe? Is there even a Team Europe anymore?
That is just a grotesque, vicious display that is entirely in line with Panzer. You know, DK, we've seen some disgusting acts from this man in this tournament thus far. One must recall the assault on Elio Del Phoenix when he Panzer drivered him onto that chair. And now, of course, the sickening display against his own tag team partner here, DK. I'm at a loss for words.
Well, Johnny, I'm right there with you, but there's no time for that as we transition into our next matchup here with Loba Blanca versus Jordan King, of course, the Amer Icon Lion. As we mentioned earlier, both these competitors very experienced, among the most decorated athletes in pro wrestling, coming off some disappointing losses for both of them. Really, both competitors looking to reclaim that former glory, light up a little something here in Power Pro.
Absolutely. Jordan King, of course, a bit of a misstep last week, losing to Ichiko Kano. He's looking to reclaim that momentum going into this bout. Loba Blanca, on the other hand, still looking to prove herself both to the American wrestling community and as well to the Lucha Libre Council in Mexico, who she is hoping to reclaim her spot there in that country, possibly even reclaiming her crown as the top luchadora in that nation.
Of course, the Loba Blanca here in the matchup against Jordan King, the much smaller competitor, not quite as hard-hitting, but with that comes that speed advantage, and that's something we saw Ichiko Kano take advantage of last week in her match against Jordan King.
Very true, DK. And we have to wonder, is Jordan King possibly suffering some psychological upsets because of that loss last week? Is he off his game coming into this one this week? Is he going to come into this match not seeing Loba Blanca across the ring from him, but seeing Ichiko Kano?
That's a very good question, Johnny. Of course, the experience of Jordan King. This man is one who has seen it all over the world. If there's any man prepared for a disadvantageous psychological state heading into a match, it is Jordan King.
Absolutely, and you see King there playing along for a moment with the luchadora, but then in the end shutting her down with that knee. So I have to wonder now, is Jordan King going to give her a few inches so that he can take a mile later on in the contest? Is he going to play along and let her do a little damage to him for a greater amount of damage that he can do to her, turning the momentum around on her later on in the contest?
Well, possibly, Johnny, but it already seems that he's laying on the damage here so far. Loba Blanca able to create some separation there.
Very true. Loba Blanca now whipped into the ropes, able to duck under that lariat, but can she capitalize on it? Test of strength now. King, the obvious victor there, a drop toe hold. Sends her close to the apron, or close to the turnbuckle rather, sorry about that. That illegal blow Could have been to the solar plexus, could have been below the belt. Unclear at this time. DDT from the Loba Blanca there. Whips him into the turnbuckle. King, the Lion playing possum there. Now, wrist lock applied. Both competitors missing strikes, dodging one another. STF applied. We saw, of course, earlier in the contest, King with that STF to Loba Blanca. Now Blanca returning the favor. Kitchen sink sends her to the mat, but leg tackle there puts King also on the mat. And we have a bit of a strike exchange, chopping away at one another here. Blanca comes out on top.
Very interesting. You would certainly expect Jordan King to have the advantage in a striking contest such as that.
Indeed so, DK. Now Loba Blanca firing up here, coming at him with some pretty devastating maneuvers, and now she's seeking to tie him up, working on the legs of Jordan King. Knee lift there. Sends King to the mat, drags him into position. Big wheel kick there. King back to his feet. Palm strike to wake him up there. Arm drag takeover. Bit of a judo throw, and she drags him back into position. Lifts him up. To the back, an Irish whip into the opposite corner. Not able to follow up. King recovering too fast. Will put Loba down, working on the knee now of the Loba Blanca. Has her up over his head. Knee to the gut there. Just jockeying for position here. Ooh. Some heelish tactics there from Jordan King. Jordan King now with a snap suplex. Loba Blanca and Jordan King back to their feet.
At the same moment as well, neither competitor giving up anything here.
Not at all. Both of these competitors have tremendous heart, DK. Into the turnbuckle. Sets her up on the top of the turnbuckle now. What's King going for? Could he go? No! Hurricane run off the top rope. Reversal there, and now a standing moonsault pinfall cover. 1, 2, but no 3 count on the Amer Icon Lion. King dragging Blanca, continues to work on that knee. Of course, you take out the knees of the luchador, you take out a lot of their offense.
That's right. We saw some impressive moves there from Loba Blanca, but those expenditures of energy seem to take a lot out of her as well.
Indeed so. And Jordan King, we all know, has energy to spare. He can absorb this damage, and he can come back from it. He wakes Blanca up with that chop. Little knee lift there. And now, Mexican Destroyer. Drags him into place. Moonsault, a cover. 1, 2, no. King back to his feet. And a second Mexican Destroyer as Blanca pulls King, center of the ring. Another moonsault cover. 1, 2, no. So very close, but King able to escape. Now a brainbuster from Loba Blanca. Blanca to the top rope, waiting. Spinning wheel kick. And a cover. Hooks the leg. 1, 2. Oh, so very close. As she applies this abdominal stretch here.
Loba Blanca looking on fire now at this point in the match.
Absolutely. And now, banana split stretch. Too close to the ropes, of course. And now, a third Mexican destroyer. And another moonsault. Recover. 1, 2. Could this be it? 3 count. DK.
Very.
Has pinned Jordan King.
Very, very impressive from Loba Blanca. I dare say, Johnny, this is the Loba Blanca we were hoping to see at the start of this tournament.
I think so, DK. At this point, I feel like she has overcome the ring rust. She's gotten back into peak form. This is the Loba Blanca that fans are used to seeing from her time in Mexico. This is the Loba Blanca that we were hoping to get coming into this tournament. And it seems like she has now recaptured something of that spark as she now defeats Jordan King, who has to be one of the top competitors in the world in this sport.
Absolutely, Johnny. But now you have to wonder what's going through Jordan King's mind. Back-to-back high-profile losses in singles competition. That has to eat at the American Lion.
Very true. And I have to wonder if this was... I have to wonder if that was okay. I guess we're just transitioning to the next thing.
Tom.
In our main event this evening, folks, we're going to have a fantastic contest, and I have no doubt about that, as the undefeated Team Canada goes up against Team Japan. Holden Troy and Heather Lexus against Kazuya Kano and Ichiko Kano. That's coming up next, wrestling fans, and it promises to be one heck of a contest.
Absolutely, Johnny. We have Kazuya Kano returning to action. Ichiko Kano, we mentioned Jordan King's loss last week. That was against Ichiko Kano. Ichiko looking very impressive here in her last few matches.
But at the same time, Heather Lexus looking wonderful in her last contest here on this program against Donna Reed, and as some would say, an upset victory over Donna Reed. And DK, it seems that we will be joined here this evening. As did you know that she was coming to?
I can't say as I did, but regardless, welcome, Donna, to the commentary table.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donna Reed has
on.
joined us.
Just thought I'd take a turn in the monkey seats with you drongos for a bit.
Well, we certainly appreciate you joining us here as we head on into this tag team bout, Donna Reed. I have to say I did not expect you to be joining us this evening. That memo was not passed on to me. I apologize, otherwise we would have made more accommodations for you.
It's alright. Stop by and give an eye on the competition.
Perhaps you're talking about Heather Lexus, who you recently had some issues with.
Just a few issues, nothing permanent. We'll see about next time how it goes.
And of course, at the same time, you've had some interaction with Holden Troy, a fellow Olympian. You, of course, yourself, gold medalist Olympian. Holden Troy, he medaled, but it was not gold. You, of course, a much more impressive athlete, if I haven't say so myself, here next to you.
Well, thank you.
And here comes Ichiko Kano, a woman that I don't believe that you have competed against to this point, and certainly one that I'm sure you've been watching closely going forward, knowing that you will eventually have to compete against her if you hope to capture the Golden Crown. Now making his way to the ring is Kazuya Kano, other half of Team Japan. Kazuya Kano, last we saw him, was still recovering from that injury inflicted by Panzer. that concussion and dislocated shoulder caused by Panzer only a few weeks ago here on this very program.
Fight.
And now we begin this main event contest. Holden Troy, Kazuya Kano in the ring. Big body slam there by Kazuya Kano. Little test of strength early on here. Holden Troy able to overpower the elder Kano.
Kano firing right back, though, does not seem to have lost a step for his time off.
Not at all, DK. Kano working the chin lock there on Holden Troy. Troy being smart, quartering the ring, keeping Kano in his half. Trying for that Northern Light suplex. Holden Troy blocks it. European uppercut there by Kano.
There we see the striking power from Kazuya.
Kazuya Kano, of course, has not lost a step at all when those strikes are in play, DK. Donna Reed, it would be interesting to get your insight on what do you think about the strikes employed by Kazuya Kano here in this contest? He, of course, has that martial arts background, and I know that you share one. What do you think about his striking prowess as displayed thus far?
Well, there's no doubt he's good. You can definitely see his technical prowess that
Thomas,
comes
there's something
from
going on with Donna's
martial arts
headset.
training.
We seem to be having... she's not coming over, Mike. Tom?
We apologize, Donna. There's been some issues with certain individuals who maybe aren't the most professional around here. We apologize.
Regardless, we're looking to get a fresh microphone here for Miss Reed. Get her comments here in a minute. Of course, Ichiko Kano back in the ring here.
Playing some head games there with Holden Troy. Kano dragging Holden Troy.
And
Jackknife cover here.
I believe we've just gotten Miss Reed back here. Is that correct?
That's right, everything seems to be working now.
Beautiful.
You gotta get these mics fixed.
We've been working on it. It's been an ongoing issue, and we apologize. We profusely apologize. Heather Lexus now in the ring, squaring off with Ichiko Kano.
Heather Lexus, of course, somebody you've had a bit of history with, Miss Reed.
Yes, in recent weeks, Heather Lexus, of course, some might say your greatest rival here in Power Pro Wrestling.
Some might say that, yeah.
Is that an assessment that you would agree with? What do you think of Heather Lexus?
I don't know, I think my last match with her, I was told I'd be fighting a wrestler and not a flying monkey.
Quite colorful comments there regarding Heather Lexus, and certainly Heather Lexus took advantage of the high-flying aerial abilities that she has honed in her native Canada in that contest. And it didn't seem like that was something that you had necessarily trained for going into that bout, if I may be so bold, Miss Reed.
Flying like that wouldn't fly in MMA.
Well, I suppose that's true. Not as many turnbuckles in mixed martial arts. Of course, this is not mixed martial arts. This is professional wrestling. They are very different sports.
Yep, sports where the rules don't apply. It's all rope and no rules for this team.
Well, that perhaps is a bit harsh. I would say that our officials do their jobs rather well. I wouldn't say that they allow, with perhaps one exception, I wouldn't say that they allow very much tomfoolery or rule breaking.
Give up.
Holden Troy now with that body slam on Ichiko Kano. Drags Ichiko back, center of the ring. Arm lock applied there. Kano escapes. Holden Troy wrestling smart here, taking out the legs and applying that Canadian maple leaf now. Hold locked into Ichiko. Ichiko able to escape with the powerful, educated feet that she possesses. Goes for a kick. Troy able to evade it, but that one connects. Big cover there, hooks the leg one. Elbow strikes Ichiko. Ichiko now in the wrong part of the ring. Heather Lexus not interfering, however. Ooh! Big reverse Frankensteiner into that knee.
We've seen that knee put to devastating use in Ichiko's previous matches.
Yes, we have DK. And that knee, of course, emblematic of that mean streak displayed by Ichiko Kano. You know, DK, I have heard recently some rumors coming out of Team Japan's camp that Ichiko, as we've mentioned before on this program, Ichiko going off training on her own. At the same time, I've reached out to them here recently. Kazuya Kano is kind of concerned about his sister, it seems like. He thinks that she is enjoying this too much. She is enjoying the fighting too much. And in fact, there have been a few instances where she's been found not training in professional wrestling gyms or even martial arts dojos here in the States, but engaging in barroom brawls as a way of toughening herself up, of learning how to deal with a variety of opponents who perhaps have very different styles than those she is accustomed to dealing with.
Well, that's interesting for Kazuya to be concerned, given his history. But I have to imagine that Ichiko very much wants to explore all those styles, explore all those possibilities, and really find all the elements she can put together to give herself the biggest advantage she can inside.
Well, DK, you talk about the history of Kazuya Kano, but at the same time, you know, every big brother has to look out for their little sister. Every big brother has that instinct to not want them to go into those things. And here we see now this trapped armbar here.
You have to wonder there, though, is Kazuya too concerned about his sister, not concerned enough about himself?
Good possibility, DK. Kazuya Kano there being duped into that handshake. Holden Troy just playing it a little bit smart, perhaps, taking advantage of Kazuya Kano. Kazuya Kano continues to attempt to apply that axe kick to devastating effect.
Now Heather Lexus back in the ring, immediately fought off by Kazuya.
And Heather Lexus now Holden Troy applying that arm lock, wrist lock combination there. Kano left to fight both Canadians at once here. And now Alexis Plex applied. Hits Kazuya Kano. And now here it comes. Lexus Plex. Drops him right on his head in friendly territory for Heather Lexus. And now a strike exchange. Chopping away at one another. Kano wins into the ropes now. He stops his momentum. Drops Kano onto his head. Dragon Sleeper applied. And Heather Heather Lexus now showing some shades of her match against Donna Reed only a few weeks ago now. Donna, that we talked about some things that you had perhaps not trained for. Was that one of them, those head drops, of course illegal in mixed martial arts? Was that something that you had, that had taken you by surprise perhaps?
Maybe a little bit. You know, the rules are quite different, so it can be difficult to adjust.
Yeah, we've definitely noticed, and I hope I'm not being too. I hope you take no offense at this. However, we've noticed some difficulty that you've perhaps faced in adjusting to professional wrestling. Rope breaks, for example, being something of an issue for you early on. You've adjusted to that. We thought that you would have issues adjusting to tag team wrestling. You've adjusted to that. You have shown a tremendous amount of ability to adapt. However, at the same time, there are some rules that seem to perplex you and confound your efforts to win matches here in Power Pro Wrestling.
Well, the problem with these wrestling matches is sometimes the rules don't apply, so it can be difficult to tell when that's going to happen.
Well, I wouldn't say that is a fair assessment necessarily. Give me an instance of a rule being broken.
Well, we're seeing right now, tag team, everybody's in the ring. We had everybody in the ring a little while ago, and there was no crowd control going on from the referee at all.
A fair point, Donna Reed. Of course, tag team cut time is allowed at the referee's discretion. A fair point, of course. And watching Heather Lexus in this match, I just had to wonder, Donna, if you perhaps had any regrets about your performance in Power Pro Wrestling thus far. As Heather Lexus heads to the top rope now to deliver a big missile drop kick to the outside. And now we just have a big brawl at ringside area here. And at this point, the match has just broken down.
Perhaps this match might have a point after all, Johnny.
There is a good possibility. And of course, the competitors leaving the ring only long enough to break the count that would potentially lead to a disqualification. And then they return right back. Boston Crab applied by Heather Lexus. But going back to what I was asking Donna, if given the chance, do you have anything that you would do over? Would you, for instance, perhaps not continue to compete 8 weeks in a row? Would you maybe take a break to regroup and to get used to the travel schedule? Would you perhaps not challenge Heather Lexus? Would you? Is there anything that you would do over if you had the chance?
Well, I think I'll definitely win next time. Certainly that is probably the one thing that really bothered me about last match. So I'll make sure that in future that's what happens.
Are you saying that you want to fight Heather Lexus a second time?
Definitely.
Are you then issuing a challenge to Heather Lexus on this program?
Right on. I take her anytime.
Well, that would be, I think that I can speak for a great number of people and say that is something I would be personally fascinated to see as Ichiko Kano applies that reverse scythe lock there. And perhaps to Donna Reed's point, Things have broken down as Heather Lexus hits Ichiko Kano with a second Lexus Plex here, dropping her onto her head, and now a moonsault from Heather Lexus to cover. 1, 2. Ichiko Kano, the fall is broken up, and now moonsault press. Body check from Kazuya Kano, a cover. 1, 2, 3. Ichiko Kano and Kazuya Kano. Team Japan have broken Team Canada's winning streak here this evening.
And what a victory. They're snatching victory from the proverbial jaws of defeat, I would say.
Indeed so. And Donna Reed, we want to thank you for joining us for commentary this evening. Quite a bout.
Definitely a good match to watch.
And you heard it here, folks. Donna Reed has challenged Heather Lexus to a rematch at a date to be determined.
Be interesting to see Heather's response there coming up on the short end in this matchup.
It would be. And fans, this has been quite a match, quite a night here on Power Pro Wrestling. And as we now take a look back at the events that have unfolded over the course of this program, we see, of course, the painful to watch match between Panzer and Brooke Power. Panzer, of course, showing no mercy and dominating his own tag team partner here this evening. And we see now that big Samoan drop over the top rope that has done some damage that we are not certain of the magnitude of.
We've seen these sickening displays week after week, this absolute violence from Panzer, but still, Johnny, I have to say, even with all that in mind, still surprised to see Panzer doing that to his own teammate.
It's not something that you would expect, even coming from a monster like Panzer, DK. You would have to think that he would have a little bit of remorse, or perhaps even just self-preservation.
But on the other hand, a much different type of match, a much cleaner match here between Jordan King and Loba Blanca, and what a sports contest it was.
It was a tremendous display from Loba Blanca and from Jordan King. 3 Mexican destroyers from Loba Blanca puts her on the board in Block B. Of course, it's still a far cry from actually challenging for the Golden Crown, but it does put Jordan King's ability to challenge for it into question. At this point, we're going to have to look at point totals as we approach the finals of this tournament. We're going to really have to see if Jordan King is able to eke out enough victories going forward to put him above Ichiko Kano. Ichiko Kano, who had a tremendous showing in the main event only a few moments ago. And of course, there's 2 big things coming out of this match. The first being, of course, the challenge from Donna Reed to Heather Lexus. The other being the defeat of the previously undefeated Team Canada.
That's right, Johnny. With Team Japan back together in this matchup, that might have been what it finally took to bring Team Canada down.
Oh, there's no doubting the ferocity on display from Team Japan, as we see here. But I do have to wonder, is Team Japan okay? There's something... I'm not sure if there's a divide emerging between the Kazuya siblings, but certainly there's something going on in Team Japan right now.
Well, even with that in mind, Johnny, it was enough to bring them victory here in this matchup against a team that has been absolutely dominant here so far in Team Canada.
Very true, DK. And what a closing bout it was. You know, we lost control of the match. Mark Schultz, our official, lost control at a certain point, and things just went haywire. In the end, Heather Lexus hit Ichiko Kano with this Lexus Plex. She hit her with the moonsault, and then that brought in both Kazuya and Holden Troy.
And then
Kazuya broke up the pin, and here we see the finals. Ichiko with that moonsault.
Just
got the
taking advantage of that moment of hesitation, that moment of confusion, and that made all the difference.
All the difference in the world. And now Team Japan has they're approaching a point lead in the tag team division. Still, of course, Team Canada and Team Europe, the standouts in that tournament, in that bracket.
You look at the very top of the chart, though, Panzer and Brooke Power, you have to wonder what's happening with that team going forward.
Very true, DK. And we have a graphic. There we are. Good.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. So next week on this very program, folks, Donna Reed will be back in action against Team USA. Karen Rose and Jordan King taking on Team UK. That's Kid Grime and Donna Reed. And that promises to be a great, tremendous contest, and I can't wait for it, DK.
Absolutely, Johnny. Promises to be another classic here on Power Pro.
Absolutely. And fans, we want to thank you for joining us, both those of you watching at home and those of you who were attendance here in Philadelphia. And we want to look forward to seeing you next week on Power Pro Wrestling.
Thanks, Tom.